Yesterday I discovered online this wondrous app called Slide AR, and from my understanding you essentially create augmented reality digital art, something like that. Now unfortunately the ratings and reviews are not too promising, but I'm gonna try it out anyways, so let's see how it goes. Alright, so when I first saw this whole AR art idea, I first thought of this artwork illustration that I did for Inktober last year, and I feel like this would be really cool to transform into the augmented reality app situation. So for starters, I think I just want to do something very basic and just kind of like fill in some lines to see how it will even work in the AR app. So I'm gonna start with that and start doing some kind of lines to kind of represent this but make it a little bit more interesting. Alright, so I kind of want to start with the midground, so we have that mountain set in place, and I think I'm honestly just gonna scribble something quick just so we get the idea of what exactly is going on here. Alright, so we have that, and then I think on top of it I want to do a layer of mushrooms right up here. But then I also want to have a layer of mushrooms behind the midground, so I'm gonna just rename this the mountain. That's not how you spell mountain, but that's okay. And then I just want to have a couple mushrooms sticking out from behind it. Yes, very nice, very classy. Okay, so I have my mushrooms behind the mountain, I have the mountain, and then I have the mushrooms in front of it, and I also want to do the flag on its own layer. So then on top of the mountain again, I think I'm going to do some little plantoids. And now I think I'm going to, I think I'm going to group these all in layers. So I have all of the midground in one layer. I'm going to do another folder for the foreground. So I'm going to start with that now. So in my illustration, I originally envisioned it as some bigger trees right here, and then some bushes, and then the person. So I think I'm going to start with, Alright, so I think I'm gonna start with just... Actually, I'm gonna start with the trees. So I'm gonna have some like bigger trees sticking out of here. Very sloppy, of course, but that's okay. This is just a quick test run. Okay, I think that's good enough, and I'm gonna fill these in quick because I feel like it's a little bit confusing. So I'm gonna go in with like a grayish for these. Alright, so I have that, and now I want to... Let me think. I want to add the bushes. Actually, I'm gonna add the bushes first, but they're going to be underneath the tree layer. Alright, and maybe, should I just go in with some kind of like a greenish color? Okay, and maybe I could... No, let's leave it simple for now. So I have the bushes, and then I have the trees, and in between I want to have some kind of humanoid creature. So I'm going to kind of just draw in that person somewhere over here. I'm just going to stick with a stick figure for now, and then make it a little bit more detailed for later. Maybe it's a bear. Okay, so we have that thing right there, and then we have the trees. So I think that's pretty much the midground done. No, not the midground, the foreground done. So I'm going to close that folder, and then I'm going to add the background, and for that I think I'm just going to do some more hills and maybe some trees. Does that sound like a plan? I think so. So I think I have all of my layers drawn and set in the right places, and trust me, I know this looks like a hot mess, but this is just my first initial test, so I'm going to jump over to the Slide AR And actually, first I need to, let me think. So I think I'm just going to export all of these layers as a PNG. I'm pretty sure you can do that. Maybe not. PNG files, and I'm going to, it should ideally export every single layer as its own individual PNG file. So I'm going to jump over to Slide AR and start inserting my layer. Okay, I hope this is going in the right order. Okay, so I think I should have all of my layers in. Hopefully it's in the right order, but let's see. Alright, so it's done. Set the target. What does that mean? What? Does it want me to insert like a flattened image? Okay, I'm gonna go back to ProCreate and I guess just export this as is and then insert, wait, no, that's not what I wanted. Does that make sense? Okay, done, I guess. I'm confused. So right now you will be seeing a couple of my first initial failures. So this first one was me trying to hold up my iPad and use it as a camera. That's why it's so crazy and shaky. And then later you will see, right now actually, my phone. So I tried a bunch of different processes to figure out, and I had the most trouble with trying to figure out what to do with the target step in the app, but eventually I did figure it out, and you'll see in my final thing at the end of the video how I figured that out. But yeah. So I have pretty much finished all of the line art for my illustration. So it looks a little bit crazy, but we have the background, the midground, and then the foreground. So what I'm going to do right now is create a couple color thumbnails just so I can figure out where I want the lights and the darks to be and everything, and what colors specifically I want to use, and then after that I'll jump right into coloring. So here is my first very incredible crusty color key thumbnail thing. It looks pretty terrible, but then I decided to go and jump over to Pinterest and find a different color inspiration boards, and finally I found this beautiful color scheme that is this fabulous purpley color and also like a teal blue. And that's a color scheme that I've honestly never used before, and I definitely never would have came up with on my own. So I'm glad I went over and let Pinterest help me decide how my whole entire creation was going to look. And now for the coloring. So I decided very quickly that I wanted to do a lineless look, so that's why I'm being very careful and taking the color very slowly. So I started off just blocking in the colors. Alright, so I have finished all of my flat colors. So what I'm going to do now is I have all of my layers properly opened. So I have the foreground, I have the midground, and then I have the background. So what I'm going to do is just simply export it as PNG files, and then I'm going to do a little test before I start any shading or any other coloring as to how these layers currently look in the AR app. And this is how my first flat color test was looking, and I was honestly very happy with the results so far. And I know this video clip is not the best, there's a bunch of weird reflections and everything, but the whole point was to see how the actual illustration looked like in the app. And thusly began my deep dive into coloring this whole entire creation. So this took so long for me. I was not expecting to put so much detail as I ended up putting into it, but I had a blast. But at the same time, I'm kind of skipping through the coloring phase pretty quickly because that's not really the focus of this video. But you can still see a sped up version of my coloring, and you can also see in the top corner that I have my little thumbnail there as a reference. And so every single color that I use in the final image, I just plucked the colors directly from my thumbnail and then used those colors for my final coloring. I am now at the point where I seriously need to just stop because I could probably spend a couple more hours just tweaking all the little tiny things and details, but I'm just gonna stop for now, and I need to start thinking about how exactly I'm going to go about flattening it and exporting it as layers. So right now I have a crazy amount of layers and clipping masks and all this other stuff. So for the rest of the actual creating the AR experience, I had to go on my phone and download the app from there, and then I transferred all of those flattened PNG images from my iPad to my phone. So this part is a little bit complicated, but the target I set as a flattened JPEG of my final illustration. And then I took a screenshot of that and put it on my iPad screen. And then with my phone, with the AR slide app opened, I was filming my iPad screen and it worked really nicely from there. So to actually get it to work and look nice, it was a little bit complicated, and I needed both of my devices, my phone and my iPad, to get it to look right. It was still fun nonetheless, but if you're willing to shell out $1.99 for this app, I would recommend it. It is a fun experience. So thank you so much for watching. If you're interested, subscribe for more and follow me on Instagram at ursa.allen, same way it's spelled here, and I will see you later. Toodles!